On the second day of her visit to Egypt, U.S. Secretary of State Hilary Clinton has met with Field Marshal Hussein Tantawi, chief of the country's armed forces. Clinton urged him to hand over power to Islamist President Mohamed Morsi as quickly as possible. And more now on this secretary's visit to Egypt and what it hopes to achieve with Wael Eskandar, blogger and journalist. Mr. Eskandar, thank you very much for joining us. How much of an impact do you think Clinton's pleas will have on the Field Marshal, given that the U.S. funds about a third of Egypt's military budget?
I don't think that it would have a very strong impact, but nevertheless it gives some sort of a green light that the struggle between the military and the Brotherhood is fair game, that they may struggle for power as long as they don't do anything too drastic to affect U.S. interests. And so I think that the whole visit will just reinforce that the U.S. is supporting the current power structures as they are.
And how is U.S. influence in Egypt being perceived by the people there? Washington did, after all, support Mubarak for decades.
Well, Washington has always been supporting the power structures that serves its purposes, irrespective of whether they are democratic or not. So currently, they really don't care what kind of forces are there, as long as they give the U.S. what it actually requires, which is the foreign policy, not to interfere with it, and to make sure they have political and military allies, whatever the new regime is in Egypt.
And what of the military? Surely the longer they hold on to power, the more hostile the situation could become. So why won't they make the transition now?
It's true, and the U.S. realized that very well, that the longer the military hold on to power, the more destabilizing it will be. And they are not equipped to handle any of the current situations that face the country, and we're facing an economic crisis. But the military in itself has a lot of economic interest in Egypt, and they've controlled the country from behind the scenes for 60 years anyway. It's only recently that they've come to the forefront. What they're trying to achieve is to make sure that the new system gives them the same power that they've had during the Mubarak time. And this is why they're not transitioning to a civilian government. They've lost a very important ally, the NDP, and there is no clear replacement. The U.S. realized that the Muslim Brotherhood can be that kind of replacement, but the military is still adamant, and they always, as always with the military regime in Egypt, they don't like to share power so much. They want to make sure they have everything under control, even from behind the scenes. And this is why they're taking a very long time to transition, because they want to make sure that the transition is controlled in their favor.
Let's turn now to Morsi. How, from your point of view, will Egypt's relations with the U.S. change under him?
The U.S. relations with the U.S. will change as in the actors will change, the primary actors. The U.S. has had some trouble dealing with the military, especially with the NGO crisis that happened last year, and the military are stubborn, and they don't really want to listen to everything Egypt wants to, the U.S. want to tell them to do. So it's a bit problematic. But I think that what the U.S. is trying to do right now is to wait for to see who wins in the political battle that is ongoing between the Muslim Brotherhood and the military, and reinforce the power structure that results out of that. So I don't think there's any fundamental change in the position of the U.S. and the relations between the U.S. and Egypt, but the change will be with the specific entities with which the U.S. will deal, and the way they will operate will change slightly, of course.
Wael Eskandar, blogger and journalist. Well, thank you very much indeed.